in my face, I woke up to the sun. Calling my name, she want me on her tongue. I cannot stay, I know you're not the one. All to myself, yeah, I'm okay. Last night I was sipping on the drink. Fucked up and I can't feel my face. One life, man, I hope that I change. Cause if I don't, then I'll never see tomorrow.
I was going to make my own video on this topic, but I thought I'm going to use Ali A's one because I watched it and I was like, okay, everything he says in this is pretty much what I want to say. However, I'll add my own points on top of his, you know, at different points that I think he could either be a little bit incorrect or so I can expand on it with my own thoughts. And yes, I am being lazy by not making my own one, but it's also making my life easier by not making my own one. So yes, I am lazy, but it's good content. So yeah, let's get into Ali A's Fortnite rant.
First topic we're going to be talking about is different players. It's really important going into everything that we're about to talk about, and whenever you think about anything when it comes to Fortnite, is understanding that Fortnite is built up of many different players. You can categorize it into main groups. I like to think you've got content creators, which is myself, people that you watch online, generally streamers or YouTubers. You've got competitive players whose main goal is to be the best they possibly can at Fortnite and ultimately make money from it. And then casual players, somebody that just plays on the weekend or plays with their friends and maybe doesn't even know that the competitive and content creation side of Fortnite exists.
Little pause right there. If you're a casual player and you don't know about content creators / streamers / competitive players, you literally live under a rock. I'm sorry, but you do.
Literally just playing the game to have fun. Whenever Fortnite do anything in game, they have to consider everyone that's playing and they have their own objective.
Technically speaking, yes, they have to consider everyone, but they don't because they're too involved in their money now. They made so much money, they don't give a shit about the people who actually care about the game. They only care about the people who play it casually, in quotation marks. You can't see me doing that, but because there's no such thing as a casual player anymore.
Objectives with what they want to achieve from Fortnite. Now, the reason I want to open up with this is because actually the casual players make up the vast majority of Fortnite players in the world. And although you hear the opinions of somebody like me or a competitive player or somebody on Twitter, they probably aren't as much a casual player. They are probably somebody that spends a lot more time on the game, and Fortnite is balancing out those thoughts and opinions and also keeping all of the casual players interested. It is a constant battle between a casual player that doesn't play much and isn't that great normally, and probably us, the people that are watching that play a lot more, going head to head and making sure that everyone is happy.
Epic don't consider other people anymore. They only care about the people who are technically a casual player who barely play the game and aren't good. They don't care about the people who actually spend a shit ton of money on the game, who put hours and hours and hours into the game for tournaments and stuff. Like, I don't care about them kind of players anymore. They don't cater to them.
It's something that I'm going to be discussing and talking about a lot in this video, and it's just something that I want you to bear in mind. It doesn't mean that anyone's opinions is invalid or any less important, but it does make you realize that actually Fortnite are catering for people that aren't necessarily always heard. Personally, I remember the launch of the impulse nades, launching your friends off of a mountain just to eliminate them for fun, or even launching an enemy if you were skilled enough. Items like that made the game so fun. Stupid things like Porta Fort. It wasn't necessarily a super good item, but it was fun, it was dumb almost, and it made Fortnite different, unique, and fun.
This is what we need in this game. We need items like Impulses back, Porta Forts back, Porta Fortresses even as well, bounce pads, all that stuff we need back.
However, I think it's safe to say that most people don't think that that level of fun factor is there anymore, and Fortnite has kind of lost that edge on what made it so unique and what made it this crazy fun game to be a part of.
That is true. Fortnite has literally lost every aspect of it to be enjoyable. Like, honestly, in my opinion, if you're coming to me and tell me that you actually enjoy Fortnite at like the current state it is in now, if you enjoy it, actually physically, fully enjoy it, and you get on and have a shit ton of fun, I don't buy it. But all those big people are just playing like Warzone or Valorant. Like, no one likes this game. They need to understand that. Big streamers, where most of their audience came from, don't like this game.
You could just mess around with your friends. I think it's fair enough to say that back in the day when a lot of those items were added and towards the beginning of Fortnite, the whole landscape of the game was very different. Fortnite was fresh. People generally weren't that great at the game, but it didn't really matter. These fun items were available to everyone. They were fun for everyone. And I feel like, and I think it's safe to say that as the time has gone by, the fun factor of the game has been forgotten and Fortnite almost takes itself a little bit too seriously. All brand new things that haven't been done before. Stop necessarily thinking about really great weapons. Something that's just a little bit fun to mess around with. And even if it is a little bit overpowered at first, it doesn't matter. It needs to be...
Okay, I slightly disagree with that. If they add a weapon or item that's like a jokey sort of thing but makes the game fun, it definitely should not be overpowered in any way, shape or form. That bit I disagree with.
Fun first and then seriousness later. Personally, I think that would make casual players play more, it would make us play more, it would make people talk about Fortnite more, and I think it's something that should be thought about more by Epic as well. So moving on to updates.
Okay, so what you just said there, where an item that's like fun and stuff will help bring the community sort of back together, make it more fun, get all the people talking about it again. I 100% agree with that. However, also I think at the moment, the way Fortnite is, like, all not releasing patch notes, not giving any updates, not even like just speaking out about saying anything, them getting people to talk about Fortnite, yes, adding something new would, but I feel like as a marketing way right now, every single fucking person is talking about Fortnite. Granted, a lot of it's negativity. It's still publicity, and they're fucking getting so much attraction at the moment.
Some patch notes. Fortnite set a precedent that was just insane. I mean, coming from a Call of Duty background, where the game wasn't updated anywhere near as often, maybe every few months we get like a big update. Fortnite came onto the scene and were like, every week, you're going to be getting something new in the form of a weapon or an item. The map itself is going to have a big change, and we're going to fix a load of stuff so that the game isn't broken.
See, this is what Fortnite needs to go back to doing. They need to go back to weekly updates, weekly patch notes. Not like if it wasn't a weekly update, they would say just the big updates as a whole. Those updates aren't even that big anymore. Like before, it used to have massive map changes and new weapons and like weapons getting vaulted and all that sort of shit. None of that happens now.
I just remember thinking like, I can't believe they're actually managing to do this. And as a result, they basically set themselves up for an impossible mission where sustaining that just wouldn't work. And we know that that's the case because since then we have moved to sort of bi-weekly updates, like every few weeks. And even then, some of the updates won't really do much or add very much in. Fortnite have almost burnt themselves out with how much they initially did to the game.
Okay, so that is kind of true. They have burnt themselves. I feel like they've definitely burnt themselves out as well. I feel like they've definitely run out of ideas to do. 100%. I guarantee they have definitely run out of unique ideas. Like they could do weekly updates still, even if it's just nothing major, just little patches. Like even updates like that weekly would be better than what we're getting now.
And how much we now expect as a community because we're so used to it with the game being updated. I think the biggest issue here is the fact that we've gone from so many changes and so much new stuff to complete opposite. Like throughout the beginning of the chapter 2 map, with all of this hype leading into it, with the big end live event, we then started chapter 2 and we just waited for something to change, for something to be added. And throughout pretty much the entirety of last season, there wasn't really much at all in the form of map changes, updates, and communication from Fortnite themselves. Big one. I wasn't sure if I should talk about this a little bit earlier, but it's going to lead into a lot of things, so I wanted to put it here. And this is when Fortnite changed. Now, I'm not sure when you thought your favorite season was, or when you had the most fun, or when you thought maybe Fortnite changed the most, but what we've seen within the few years of Fortnite Battle Royale being out is crazy, and it's almost like tens of years of gaming experiences crushed down into a few years because
that is true. Okay, so I think, in my opinion, my favorite season was season 5. Like, that was when I feel like, obviously I'm on keyboard and mouse now, but I used to play on controller. So that's when I was like at my prime on controller. I was fucking bodying everyone. I think I had like 200 or 300 wins in that season.
of how fast-paced the community and everything that's happened within the world of Fortnite has happened. Fortnite started off, and the way that you'd be good at Fortnite is basically being good at shooting people. And coming from a background where I did that quite a lot in other games, I was pretty good at Fortnite. I remember back in the day, people would be like, oh, who's better, Ali or Ninja? Like, Ali, you never lose, you win in all your videos. Which to a point was true. I think my best stats in Fortnite were towards the beginning, but I think it's safe to say when building got a lot more skillful and crazy, I definitely fell behind a little bit. But the point I'm trying to get at there is that you've got somebody like Ninja, Tfue, the top competitive players back then who had really high skill level for the time, and me, just a fun content creator, we were compared together. Whereas now, if you look at it, people genuinely don't think I'm any good at Fortnite, and compared to the best, I am nowhere near. But compared to your average player, probably am a lot better, to be fair. But the comparison between bad and good is such a big gap now, and that
is so true. If you're a good player, bad players are nowhere fucking near your level. You have to put so much time into the game now to be good. You can't just hop on and have fun and play and do good. You literally have to spend hours in creative learning all these new fucking mechanics and shit, all these new builds, all these fucking high ground retakes. You have to train your aim for fucking hours and hours and hours because everyone has got aim now. Like, it's almost impossible to get good at this game.
Changed for several reasons. Firstly, and I think this is something that's overlooked massively, is the fact that Fortnite really push casual and competitive players together as much as they can. We all know how big of a success the Fortnite World Cup was and how you can all interact and play these tournaments online really easily. As a result, casual players get exposed to top level Fortnite play very, very easily. So as a result, people improve a lot quicker because they're watching people play that are the best of the best. This was all accelerated with the inclusion of playground mode, where for the first time you could go and actually practice building, shooting, 1v1ing your friends without anyone like coming and killing you, because all you could do previously was do that in a normal game. And then obviously creative, adding in editing maps, practice maps, all of these things basically that help you to become so good at Fortnite. And as a result, the skill level went from kind of like, yeah, getting a little bit better to just flying upwards. And the better players were so much better than everyone else if they were putting in hours of practice, and you were just a casual player that came and jumped on with your mates for a few hours on the weekend. You would get destroyed if you ran into those players that were playing a lot. It seemed that Fortnite were focusing more on, you know, pushing that competitive play and players just getting better. And as a result, people started to find Fortnite a lot harder. And then Fortnite almost suddenly panicked a lot. Around the end of chapter 1, sort of season 8, 9, 10, we got the introduction of arena mode to try and send those really good players away from necessarily just playing too much casual Fortnite, which was quite cool. I think that's a great addition to then the game. And then you get some horrific examples, like the addition of mechs. And to this day, I hate them. I don't think they should have been put in the game even after they were nerfed in the way that they were. And they were literally put in there, and Fortnite even came out and made a whole article about it, to literally feed bad players kills. Fortnite realized that the skill gap that they'd created from overexposing all of these groups of players ultimately created a divide where people had improved so much and gotten so good that casual players could not compete and could not get wins because one or two players in that lobby they'd never be able to beat. As a result, we have a big split in skill gap. I remember I never struggled too much in chapter 1. I remember a lot of other content creators and people I know really complaining and really struggling, and people just saying it wasn't great. I didn't have too much of an issue, but ultimately the addition of mechs to try and get those bad players easy kills was not enough. And with the start of chapter 2, we had severe, fully implemented skill-based matchmaking.
Okay, so before we go into the skill-based matchmaking, I feel like this is going to be it always has been in any game, I feel like it's always been a very controversial topic. Like, some people think skill-based matchmaking is the best fucking thing to happen to games. It's like, oh yes, I'm actually coming up against people who know how to play, who are good. I'm actually like not just killing people who are terrible. Like in my opinion, yes, I feel like killing people who are absolutely terrible and have no chance against you is fun. Don't get me wrong, it's fun because you feel like you just bodying people in games is fun. But it also gets to a point where you've done it so much, you just like, I want to actually come up against good players to like, because I know, like, you know, you have that skill too, but you want to come up against people who are gonna actually make you like work for the kills.
The issue is when this skill gap got really big, like if I wanted to jump on and make a video where I was just launching myself with an impulse nade trying to get cool kills or making a sky base and, you know, falling from it, all of those fun things to do and make videos on became a lot harder. You guys and casual players trying to just have fun and get the odd win became almost impossible, and that was really the big change. And that's when Fortnite, from their perspective, knew that something had to be done. And I think
also another point, when skill-based matchmaking wasn't in, like Ali said, you could just hop on, get a win every now and then, and you can be chill. Like, I used to get like 10 to 15 wins a day, which doesn't sound like a lot for as a whole for like a good Fortnite player, but at the time a casual player who just played with his friends just to have fun, that's a lot of wins. Like 10 to 15 in one day, like almost every day, that's a lot of wins. Skill-based matchmaking's in, I barely get like 2 wins a day now. I don't even want to play the game anymore to even just like try and make a video. That's how much I don't like the game now. Like, I just want something, I want it to basically revert back to what it was. No skill-based, no OP aim assist. But that's another topic for later on though.
I think they saw a lot of the casual players fall off as well. Skill-based matchmaking. This is such, I think, like such a split opinion on skill-based matchmaking. I don't know how much I can say. I don't even know if I should say it, but I will. I was fortunate enough to actually have a call with Fortnite and some of the people at Epic about skill-based matchmaking before it was actually implemented into the game. And I actually said to Epic, I don't know if this is a good idea, but as we know, it's in the game. It's still been in the game. And I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Call of Duty has skill-based matchmaking. Apex Legends has it. Fortnite has it. It's going to stick around, but I think it needs changing personally. Ultimately, if Fortnite aren't careful, this implementation of skill-based matchmaking will just slowly kill the whole community even more. If you ever wonder why some of your favorite Fortnite players, C-Day for example, huge content creator, just doesn't make videos anymore, I bet you that answer will be skill-based matchmaking.
This goes back to a point I said earlier in the video where like Courage and that massive group of streamers and stuff don't play the game anymore. It's because of skill-based matchmaking. Like back in the day, they were so good in squads and stuff. Like they would get like 20 bombs every other game. They would be getting 20, 30 wins a day. Like their stats are insane because of how good their stats were back in the day before skill-based matchmaking. When it got put in, they got put up with people with similar stats. But those guys with those similar stats are like pro players. That's why they stopped playing, because of skill-based matchmaking. They want to hop on, have fun, get 20 bombs every other game, just fucking slay the lobbies. But you can't when the people in that lobby are your skill level. You can't do that anymore. It just doesn't work like that.
And ultimately, if you're killing off the top players making content and streaming content and enjoying the game, doesn't matter how much the casual players are sort of playing the odd game, less people are going to be watching it, less people will start playing it, and it'll be less of a cool game and big game that it has been in the past. And I think the way that skill-based matchmaking is implemented and whatever algorithm they're using, it all needs to be toned back a little bit, and they need to severely think about the long-term impacts of what it will do to people that are playing the game a lot and making content on it.
So I think the way they do skill-based matchmaking is, I think, don't quote me on it, I think it's by the amount of wins you have and like your amount of wins, amount of kills, and your KD. I think that's how they do it. Don't quote me on it because I'm probably wrong. When you see like content creators and stuff, they're always on different, like not always, but you might notice that if their account is different, like the name of their account will be different because they're on another account. Like they're on an alt account with worse stats than what their main is, because their mains could be fucking god tier, but their alt accounts are not going to be the same. Their alts are going to be dreadful.
Personally, but I know casual players like it, so let's keep it in for those lower ranked games. That's my personal opinion. Otherwise, you're just turning it into one giant competitive game, even in casuals, which
I think that would be a good way to sort of tone skill-based matchmaking.
Which leads me into the next topic, competitive Fortnite. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know everything about competitive Fortnite. I am definitely not a competitive player. I don't want to sit down and play Fortnite for 10 hours a day. I'm not going to lie to you. From what I can say, looking outwards into the community without pretending that I know what's going on there, is that they aren't that happy. There's a few reasons. One of them I know is that the loot pool money in terms of prizes isn't quite as good. I think personally they were, I don't want to say spoiled, but they were kind of spoiled with how much money has been given in the past, and the prize pools for World Cup and everything, I mean, the money's just crazy. And you can literally sit at home and do this, which in the past has not been.
Okay, I'm going to say that's kind of true. They were, I guess you can say, pro players and comp players were kind of spoiled with the amount of money they got, but it's also due to the amount of money Epic had at that point. Like, they're definitely not getting as much money as they were before because not as many people play the game, so they're still making a shit ton of money, don't get me wrong, they're still fucking minted, but they're not getting as much money as they were before, so they can't really afford to have those. So they can, but they don't want to afford and, like, I say loan out, I guess, I don't know what the right term would be, but give out that amount of money as they were before, because the prize pools were ridiculous, like especially for the World Cup, like $100 million were given out from the World Cup alone, like. But yeah, they definitely got spoiled with the amount of fucking money they were given. It was way too much to start off with, I think.
Being a thing, you got to go to events to do that kind of stuff. But we are moving into the future, and online play should be the standard for competitive gaming, which is fine. Fortnite set themselves up at this really high standard with a lot of money involved, making people's lives to literally be good at the game, which is crazy. But now the money's not as much. There isn't as many tournaments going on. Do that. However, I think we're at a point now where everyone understands Fortnite, and I think it'd be fair enough to give competitive players their own loot pool of weapons that basically makes the game a little bit more skill-based and less RNG.
Definitely. So I play a lot of, not as much anymore because I don't actually play Fortnite too much now. I play it occasionally still. But I used to play a shit ton of Arena, like try and do tournaments like Hype Night, FNCS qualifiers, all that sort of shit. I tried playing in that stuff, like Daily Duo Cup, all that sort of shit. I tried playing it, and I done okay, don't get me wrong, me and my duo done good, but it's just, the RNG is ridiculous. Like, I can say 99% of the time I die is either off spawn, because I don't get a fucking gun. I'll open like 4 chests, and just get pistols. Like, that is literally how my life goes in Fortnite. I open a chest, get a pistol. Floor loot, non-existent, just chests and pistols. Remove OP weapons and keep it standard. I say get rid of grey weapons in Arena, so it's just green, blue, purple and gold. Get rid of mythics for sure. Tone down explosives, maybe, like, not so you can't carry as many. Get rid of C4s. Get rid of, I wouldn't say get rid of heavy snipers, but make it so it like covers 2 slots.
Now, don't get me wrong, we're playing a battle royale where the game is literally picking up great rarity weapons and trying to kill people, and there is some luck involved in that. But when you got things like mythical weapons that are literally ridiculously OP compared to any other normal weapon in the game, even if you find the legendary variant, that is a bit unfair. And I think it'd be fair enough to add more fun, stupid items into casual play so that we can mess around and have fun with our friends again and not really care if we win or lose if you don't want to. And then all of the people that are playing for big money and take it really seriously can have a loot pool with maybe no heavy snipers, no mythical weapons, and they feel like it's more skill-based than luck-based. I think that's a fair enough assumption, and better communication, as I've said. I don't have too much more to say on competitive Fortnite because I don't know too much about it, but hopefully that's something you can agree on as well. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, such a controversial topic, I could do a whole video on this, I'm sure, is obviously keyboard and mouse versus controller. Don't want to forget about you touch input players as well, but if you jump back a few years and said, do you think a controller player could win multi-million-dollar tournaments or compete at multi-million-dollar tournaments against keyboard and mouse players in a competitive environment? Most people have said no. Like, the idea of aiming and using this thing, like, look at this little stick here, versus like literally moving your mouse around, there is a big difference, and people know that. As a result, controller players have aim assist.
Like, back in the day, I always used to joke about becoming a pro player on controller because it was never going to be a thing. Like, it was unheard. Like, back in the day, it would have been unheard of for a controller player who was fucking god tier and who could compete pro.
And the big controversial topic at the moment is that people saying aim assist is too strong. And you know what's funny? Is that if you jump back to the beginning of Fortnite, aim assist was so much stronger. It was so much more powerful. I know it was because I remember you almost didn't need to aim at some points. L2's...
Okay, yeah, I remember this. Back on controller, aim assist was ridiculous. Like, before L2 was a thing, aim assist was ridiculous, and people found L2, and then that was it. That was aim assist over. Think about it. Like he said, it was OP as shit, but it was more OP than it is now back in the day. But no one cared. Like, no one cared about it because everyone was just too busy having fun in the game. But they should just get rid of aim assist options as a whole, and just so it's one standard thing. You can't change the amount of aim assist you get. You can't change the type of aim assist you get. Like, just keep it one solid thing where you can't change it, and then I think it would be relatively better again.
Spam where you just spammed the aim down sight button would literally just keep your target on them without aiming. It made controller players very lazy. I know I got very lazy and it was OP, but that has been reined back and that has been removed. It doesn't help that online you get a lot of these like little clips of people beaming and getting multiple headshots on a controller, which make controller players look a lot more unfair and OP compared to keyboard and mouse. I think maybe there's some fine tuning to go on there to allow it to be a little bit more even now that controller players really have caught up to keyboard and mouse players. I know I feel aim assist sometimes a lot in close range gunfights.
So obviously I don't have like a full-on proper opinion on aim assist because I'm a keyboard and mouse player. I don't really care for aim assist anymore. Like, because obviously I'm not a controller player on Fortnite. Aim assist means fuck all to me. I can't have it, so there's no point of me even properly trying to fucking get it removed because it doesn't affect me really.
It just helps you stay a little bit more on target. But again, and it's the reason I opened up this video, you've got to remember there's loads of people playing this game. If you are playing a top tier level against somebody that is so good on controller and think that their aim assist is a little bit too strong and you want to lower it, you are lowering aim assist for every single controller casual player in the world. Suddenly, they may not be able to aim very well. They may not be able to play very well. They may end up thinking that they've gotten a lot worse, stop playing, and Fortnite's lost a load of its player base because of that one tiny tweak. And I think that's a big thing that Fortnite are thinking about and potentially one of the reasons why we haven't seen changes in those areas. Ultimately, Fortnite has been a crazy game that's done so much for me and so much for many people around the world. I just really want it to be that fun game that I think it can actually return to with some slight tweaks, some updates, and more information from Epic Games itself. So
personally, I think, in my opinion, I missed out on the whole big blowing up on Fortnite and all that sort of shit. I think I missed my chance to do that because honestly, like, my anxiety of playing and recording videos, I still have it, I still get it, and I don't think I'm confident enough to do that kind of stuff, like to put myself out there. Like, I never do. In any situation, I never put myself out there in front of people to show myself, to show what I can do. I never do that, ever. And I feel like if I wasn't like that and I was able to without like getting nervous and all that sort of shit, I could have, I'm saying I could have blown up, but I'm saying I could probably be bigger than what I am now on YouTube if I put myself out there, if I made more videos, if I made better quality video, I actually put time into it instead of just posting a single win every other week or every other month. But now I'm making more videos now. I am growing more than I was before, which I'm happy for, and I appreciate all the support that I'm getting recently because it's actually crazy compared to what it was. But I just want to be able to live comfortably, you know, have a nice life doing something I want, not sitting in a fucking office doing a 9 to 5, because I know for a fact I don't want to do that. If you think any of these opinions of mine or Ali's or just any video you've seen like this, if you think our opinions are incorrect or agree, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you would do as well. Like, what ideas do you have that you think would implement good into Fortnite as well? Please like, comment, and subscribe. I know it's a long one, but it's worth watching. It's good points, some bad points. It's entertaining to a degree because obviously my voice is beautiful. So hearing me is just soothing and entertaining and nice. But yeah, use code Xeorah in the item shop to give me money. Thank you. Much love, boys and girls, if you're watching.